What is up, fantasy endgame community? I'm Pierre, here to help you with fantasy baseball waiver wire pickups for hitters heading into week 13 now of the fantasy baseball season. Let's start with my cousin Vinnie, not really my cousin, but Vinnie Pasquantino of the Kansas City Royals. Man, it feels good to be able to talk about a Royals prospect finally. We thought that they were going to keep him down for the rest of this year, but a couple of things have happened. Salvador Perez on the IL for a while, it looks like. That's good for MJ Melendez, means he's going to be the catcher going forward, but that also means that there's more time available at DH. The only person standing in Vinny's way was Carlos Santana, who has been not so smooth these days. Well, guess what? They traded Santana to Seattle to open up a spot. So Vinnie Pasquantino making his major league debut as we speak. It looks like he's going to be locked in, at least for the time being, into that DH spot because there is a spot open for him now. This is a guy who's absolutely mashing at Omaha of the International League at AAA, hitting .280 with 18 homers and 67 RBIs so far, not even half a season. When you see a guy with this kind of power upside and now the opportunity for playing time is there for him, you have to take a shot. If you need help in any way in the power category, which you probably do, go ahead and take a shot on Vinny if he's still out there in your league. Probably going to be available in most leagues if not super competitive right now, or if it's not a keeper league. So there's a good chance you can get him if you bid soon enough and hope for the best. And let me remind you about another high-end prospect that I've mentioned in the past. That is Jarren Duran. You've probably seen in the past week, he's putting up numbers, not power numbers though, but speed. But he's hitting at the top of the lineup, and that's interesting because he's also been given the green light. So just this past week alone, he stole 4 bases, he drove in 3 runs, and he's hitting .327. He does have some pop, but at this point, not going to be used as a power bat. He's going to be a table setter, but if he's stealing bases for you, that's actually even more valuable if you can pluck him off the waiver wire. But it's interesting that this last series, he isn't playing because they had to go to Toronto and he's not vaccinated, so he could not play. For that reason, there might be some people who see that NA next to his name. They might have dropped him out of frustration or just ignorance, or they just might not have picked him up yet because they see, well, he's not getting everyday playing time. He is going to get everyday playing time, so you still have a chance to go out and get him. This guy has a lot of potential, and of course, in a great lineup. If he's going to be at the top of the order regularly throughout the second half, assuming he stays up, look, this is a guy who could score a lot of runs. So Jarren Duran should still be out there in a lot of leagues. I definitely recommend going out to get him. All right, let's keep the prospect theme going. I'm going to mention Alex Kirriloff. He's someone that way back in the preseason, I kind of hyped up a little bit, and he really hasn't been productive this year, but that's because of, once again, injury. This is a guy who had a lot of last season cut short because of a wrist injury. So here's the thing with Kirriloff. He was out of action for a little while. He was sent down to the minors, working on things because he just didn't look right. He's back up. He's getting playing time now again. He hasn't shown that power yet, but actually, it might be even better sign. He's making contact, right? A lot of times these guys, these power hitters, they sell out. He's not doing that. He's picking up base hits. Not long balls, but at least he's picking up base hits. Like this past week, he was 8 for 23, and he actually drove in 8 RBIs without leaving the yard. That's a good sign. Minnesota, you know, they've underachieved a little bit lately. They've had a lot of pieces back and forth in and out, but think about it, with Buxton in the lineup every day, you got Carlos Correa, if he can stay healthy, they actually should have a really good offense. We could see a better Minnesota offense, and we could see a better version of Kirriloff once he does start to go deep. So he's still got this massive power potential. I'm still a believer. The fact he's making contact and staying healthy, it looks like the wrist is not bothering him. That's a good thing. So I'm still in on Kirriloff. He's not a guy you're going to throw into your lineup necessarily right now, right away, but he is worth stashing on the bench. Another young player with some pop that I've mentioned before, Juan Yepez of the St. Louis Cardinals. He has been playing every single day pretty much. He's locked into a spot at DH. You know, he was hot at first, hitting well over 300, showing some power, and then kind of settled in, and then he was hitting more like 250 and just not flexing his power anymore. He is heating up again. He's got 3 homers and 6 RBIs just in his last 2-game stretch. He's been hot ever since the Arizona Fall League. He was one of the best hitters there, and so even though he's not one of the most heralded prospects, he's one who has actually been productive ever since this year started. So put him back in your lineup, pick him up. This is the time to stream those hot bats. Now, if we're speaking about hot bats, there's nobody hotter than Isaac Paredes. This is a player who you probably heard had a 3-homer game the other day. Well, now he's got a shot at playing time because Tampa has so many injuries. So Paredes has come in. a 3-homer game, and then the very next night, his first at bat, another home run. Then he had the day off, and then he hit another home run. And then the next day he didn't hit a home run, but he went 3 for 3. He has been extremely hot at the plate. Look, will he keep it up? I don't know. This is a guy who is 23 years old. He's kind of been back and forth in terms of the majors and the minors the last couple of years. Never really stood out significantly, but he does have potential, right? He does have a pretty good hit tool. Obviously has some power. Now he's got the opportunity. He qualifies at both second base and third base. If you're looking for a streamer at the very least, I think this is a good opportunity to grab him. I'm going to ride that bat until it starts to cool down. And sometimes you don't need to pick up players for the long haul. He might not be the rest of the season in your lineup, but that's okay. Right now, as long as he's hitting, you should be playing him. And I know I've mentioned a lot of young players and prospects. Let me throw out a name that's way under the radar. Meyers. He showed out fairly well last year in limited time. In 146 at-bats, he had 6 homers, 28 RBIs, a handful of steals. Look, this is somebody who, given the opportunity, could shine. He's not a guy I would go out and grab right now, but he's hitting 7th. He's playing center field. Astros obviously see something in him that they like. So for now, he's kind of my speculative guy to watch if he starts to flash. All right, those are my top picks among hitters for week 13. Guys, good luck with your pickups. May your fab be spent wisely.